Hey there, it's Mr. B here again, and just wanted to show you a couple of new battery modifications that I did. First off, we have this little white battery box that I did up. It's got the master switch on it. I used a 510 connector, and what I did with this is I just use a Trustfire 3.7 battery in there, and what I did differently on this one was I used resin around the connector, and that way it holds it in and it keeps it nice and clean inside, so your juice doesn't get down in there. I also hooked up a what do you call it, a fast changing light. There you go. And you know, I didn't put a resistor in with this one because the voltage in amps, anyway, everything came out to where I was only going to need like a 0.56 ohms difference, and I decided just to go ahead and try it without it, and it's been working just fine. It hasn't burned out yet, so we're all good to go on that. Anyway, it's pretty nice. Fits in the palm of your hand, and easy to carry around and put in your pocket, with exception of the switch that I had to use. All the smaller switches and the horn button switches that I've used all seem to burn out prematurely. These are the only types of switches that I've had any luck with, unfortunately, but you know, it keeps me going. So there we go with the 510 on there. And I'm actually been converted from the 801 and the 4072 model type atomizers over to these 501s or 510s to the cartomizers, and I get them so that they're filled with, you know, a flavor I like, and those usually last me a few days. And once they start going, then I just add my own juice to them, and I've been pretty successful at using them for up to a couple of weeks at a time for each one before I start getting that really bad burnt taste. And then when that happens and I've run out of good ones, I go ahead and I get in there and I cut and pull the filling out of these, and I fill them up with I take the fish tank filters and wad those up and put them down in there, and get a few more days out of that. Works pretty good. Anyhow, and the other one I have is my flashlight modification. I got these at Home Depot. It's got the bottom master switch, and I took that apart so that and made it a momentary switch. And it's really easy once you figure out how these things come apart and everything. You got to take every little piece apart. But once you get in there, there's two little metal tabs that are the contact points, and the main thing that you have to make sure to do is when you take everything apart, you bend those tabs up so that the plunger is pushing up to touch them instead of clicking up and then clicking down to contact them. That's what makes the difference in the monetary switch, as well as the clicker that's in there. You'll see two little white pieces of plastic, and you want to just rub off the nubs on some sandpaper or something, or cut them off, and that'll keep it from clicking. But just push on that anyway, and what I did is I put a light inside there. I'm using a 18650 battery in this. So what I did with the top to modify it, you'll kind of notice that it's clear. And so what I did was, with the 18650 battery, is much longer. Everything needed to move upwards so that I would have room for my battery, and also the problem was having room in between the battery and the battery connector here for the atomizer. And so I took the plastic, popped it out, drilled a hole in it, and then inserted, press fit the battery connector in there. And I found I didn't quite have enough room, so you'll notice at the bottom of the battery connector there's space. It's long, and there's like a deep well inside there. Well, what I did was I cut all the way around that thing, and trimmed off probably 3/8, quarter inch, less than a quarter of an inch of the flange that's around there, and I left the part where I had the negative wire soldered onto, and just kind of bent it over so that so basically it instead of everything pointing straight down, I cut everything off except one little piece that I could connect a wire to for the negative wire, and I bent it up so it's like sitting in there sideways. You can't really see it. But so what I did from there was, you'll kind of see down there on the bottom is where I took all my negative wires that I connected together, and I put them against the outside of the casing, and put a little dab of solder just to make sure it stayed in place. And then I took an old battery connector out of, like you can say out of this, like where you got up here where the battery connector is, that little piece of metal that sits at the top. Took that and folded it in half, a long piece, folded it in half, soldered my positive to that, and then it was kind of an L shape when I connected everything, and so I had all these wires all connected. Pushed the plastic piece back down into, I'm getting way off track, aren't I? I'm sorry. Anyway, I made all my connections and stuff while the plastic piece was sitting out. So I got my plastic piece and all my connections sitting in there, and then took the plastic piece, popped it down in there, pushed it back down into its groove, turned it over, and poured my resin inside there. And so that's why it's see-through, and just kind of embedded I actually left that tab right there at a 90-degree angle from that while it dried and while it cured. And then once it was all cured, then I could push that down so it was flat, or so it had a little spring to it when the battery contacted it. And it's worked out really, really well. I have had no issues with this one. I'm going to do another one so that I have a switch, because it is a little cumbersome with the momentary switch on the bottom, but for not having to deal with, switches burning out and trying to replace them with like putting a switch here, that can really be a pain and annoying. So but it would be nice to have something on there just to be able to push and do your vaping. I offset the top so that I would have a place to put my finger or my thumb while I'm holding this thing. And then I just push and do my thing. So, anyway, those are my new little toys. If you want to know more about them or how I put them together, just let me know, and I'd be happy to let you in on a few secrets. Maybe you can build your own, or I can build one for you. So, anyhow, this went much longer than I wanted. Sorry about that. Thanks for hanging in there. Bye-bye.